Hi everyone, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. Blizzcon is over for another year. Everything is getting back to normal today. And it's very interesting to see the type of reaction that Blizzcon got. I think if you spoke to the average person who attended, I'm sure they would say, it's an amazing time, great time, load of fun, etc. And if you speak probably to the average Blizzard fan, they would say, I think it's a very good BlizzCon this year. I think it was, I think it showed off this, that and the other. And I think it turned out to be decent. And I think a lot of that perception is due to the fact that although there were people protesting as regards to Blitzchung and China and all that sort of stuff, the show itself went without too much of a hiccup. A little bit of a mention of it here and there, but that would only really be seen if you purchased the virtual ticket. The opening ceremony, which the majority of people would see and potentially see only, nothing. There was nothing there apart from J. Allen Barak coming on making a very insincere apology. But having said that, it's amazing how many people tried to defend J. Allen Barak and his apology, which, again, I stress, was in my eyes a joke, because he came onto stage, said that Blizzard was sorry, said that Blizzard had mucked up, said that this was not how Blizzard should behave, and how Blizzard should be better in the future. However, what he didn't do was any sort of change to the punishments, the ridiculously heavy punishments levied upon Blitzchung and America universities, punishments which had also been scaled down. So he just showed the hypocrisy there. But that's by the by. That's not actually necessary for this video. But I had to have a little stab. So, what about the shareholder? Well, the shareholder, as we have a look at the stock price today, is pretty much unmoved. And the shareholder, as we saw from last year, has a real feel for what truly, financially, has been put on show. So last year, for example, I didn't think watching last year's BlizzCon that it was a particularly bad BlizzCon in terms of, again, the way it's presented. But when you boiled everything down, it was horrendous for Blizzard. Why? Nothing for StarCraft. Nothing for Heroes of the Storm. In actual fact, building up to BlizzCon, they had announced the departure of the esports of Heroes of the Storm. It looked like an abandonment of the game, literally putting it into administration mode. And then you had World of Warcraft. Nothing new to announce for the World of Warcraft. Then you had Overwatch. Nothing to announce for Overwatch. Then you had Diablo Immortal, a mobile game. You then had Alan Adam and crew, when they were speaking to the press, not to the BlizzCon audience, to the press, which was recorded, that Blizzard were determined to move into the mobile marketplace. So they were telling shareholders, we're shifting our focus, because this is how a shareholder would see Blizzard Entertainment, as a PC, predominantly PC-based company, shifting their focus into mobile, when it in itself, even though mobile is the most profitable side of the gaming industry, Blizzard have not done this. This is a new foray. Also stressing that a lot of their best developers had been moved over to the production of mobile games, and also that most of their top developers, again, top leaders, were no longer playing PC. These are things that Alan Adams said, and were now playing mobile games. Whether he was lying through his anus or not is irrelevant. This is what he decided to say to the press. So what was the reaction last year to BlizzCon? Huge drop. A huge drop down because they weren't showing any money. And that is what a shareholder wanted. A A shareholder wanted to see where the money was coming from. And based off last year's BlizzCon, you couldn't see that. So this year comes around and things on a superficial level and from a gamer's perspective seem positive. In as much as Blizzard announced a brand new World of Warcraft expansion. World of Warcraft fans get excited. Again, from a shareholder's perspective though, they understand that the recent growth from the World of Warcraft side has actually been conducted through the release of Classic WoW and not the current product. So a shareholder would have to see something tangible from the current product that shows some sort of growth. So, for example, let's say next month's figures come out, and I'm talking December's figures come out, November's figures come out. So there would be some sort of reaction from BlizzCon. If World of Warcraft West was to rise up again, then that is a far bigger indication that that movement has been made via the current product than it has via Classic. Because it would show the investor that people have actually been interested and intrigued by the announcement of the new World of Warcraft expansion, and therefore resubscribed, etc., etc. With not masses of amounts about Classic. Yes, the next stage of Classic, but people, I think the buzz as regards to Classic has now sort of reached its peak and is not necessarily in decline, but it's not really going on an up curve right now because the product is actually out there. That was the major thing, was the release of it. The other stages in releasing the contents of Classic, not so much hype surrounding that because people know they will eventually come. So if there is an uptick next month, then we might see the stock price raise. But, again, if you just look at today's, and don't read massive amounts into this, but there's not been a lot here. It dipped initially, and then it's come back a little bit, but it's down on the day, which says that the shareholder was unmoved what was shown from the World of Warcraft side. There has to be something a bit more tangible. Then from the Diablo 4 side, again, look at the way that that would be perceived by a gamer, and from what I can gather, most people are excited about Diablo 4 than anything else at BlizzCon. It produced an incredible CGI cutscene, which was, again, just brilliantly rendered. Nobody can deny that. And then they showed off some footage, which was what I would class as typical ARPG stuff. I think a reason why when I did my BlizzCon video, I've had a couple of days to ponder this, and I've had a couple of days to, step back. I think why my initial reaction wasn't slightly higher was the fact that after we'd had all these leaks about how they were deciding to proceed with Diablo 4, they were looking at a third-person over-the-shoulder version and all this kind of stuff, I was maybe expecting a little bit more innovation in terms of what was going to be shown off at with Diablo 4. So when they showed off essentially a tighter, graphically superior version of Diablo 3, I was kind of, I was hoping for just something a little bit more. But, by the by, they showed that off. People, for the most part, seemed very happy. The Diablo fans seemed very happy indeed. They'd got their sequel announced. But again, we see here, there's no lift, there's no raise. So why, for the shareholder, is Diablo 4 not pushing that stock price up? Why aren't people purchasing that stock and therefore raising the price? Well, the answer is Blizzard very quickly and swiftly announced that Diablo 4 is a long way off. So although there's another Diablo game coming, a new Diablo game coming for the PC, which is the technology which a shareholder would associate Blizzard with more than the mobile aspect and the Diablo Immortals, it's a long way off. And for all intents and purposes, it looks like we're looking at a 2021-2022 release of Diablo 4. So, a long way off, jumping into purchasing stock right now? No, it has to get, there has to be something again showing that Diablo would affect the stock, and with it being so far away, it's not. It's simply not going to do so. And in terms of Overwatch 2, I think Overwatch 2 as a sequel was received very lukewarm indeed. You know, I hear a lot from people saying it was a very nice cutscene. And Blizzard do put out very nice cutscenes, but cutscenes, I say in the nicest of way, are smoke and mirrors, because they don't show off content, they don't show off gameplay, etc., etc. It's literally a very specific hype machine. So although people liked the Overwatch 2 announcement in terms of the story they were doing, when it came to the actual delve into what Overwatch 2 was going to be, a lot of people were left scratching their heads saying, why should I buy Overwatch 2? And with Blizzard saying this is a new type of way of doing a sequel, yeah, it seemed like a very rip-off kind of way from a player's perspective. Whereas the content's going to be available in terms of the new PvP mode and the new characters for Overwatch 1 owners, the only real incentive from what people can gather to purchase Overwatch 2 would be to unlock the new PvE mode, which was going to be made available for that. So again, with that being a lukewarm reception in terms of gamer as well, there is absolutely no reason for a shareholder to get excited about that. If the shareholder doesn't think the gamer sees a legitimate reason to purchase a sequel, then the stockholder's going to be lukewarm, and that's not going to push the price at all. That's not going to push the desire to get stock, because it's not looking like Overwatch would have that much of an effect. And with people being able to play the vast majority of it, especially from the PvP side, which is the whole game at the moment, on Overwatch 1, yeah, you're going to get some new customization equipment and all that sort of stuff from the loot boxes, but it also means that the loot box is going to be the same. So my bit of a nasty, I don't know, my bit of a stab at Overwatch 2, where I said Overwatch 2 loot box reset, it doesn't even seem to be that either. It doesn't even seem to be a resetting of the loot box system. It just seems to be there will be extra stuff added to loot boxes at certain times. So again, no reason for a shareholder, a stock owner, to get excited. If it was going to be a completely separate entity with brand new loot boxes, then they could see the potential for growth there. There's no massive amounts of potential for growth with it. So again, nothing that would entice a stock owner, share owner to go mad and invest. And then there's the main one, which I think, and the main one is no new IP. I was convinced at this BlizzCon they were going to announce a new IP. I thought Blizzard had to. Because when I broke it down, when I did my own BlizzCon breakdown, I said, I think there's going to be Diablo 4. I said there's going to be Overwatch 2. And I said there's going to be a World of Warcraft expansion. I thought there was going to be other stuff, which never materialized. I thought there was going to be potentially, not 100%, but potentially the Diablo 2 remastered. Doesn't look like maybe that's even going to happen now. I also thought that they were going to announce the release of Diablo Immortal. That never happened. A game which has apparently been finished since February, according to NetEase. I thought that World of Warcraft were also going to announce their version of Pokemon Go. That never came to fruition either. But what they did show, or what they were going to show off, was always existing IP. And it's new IP which really ignites interest. And so when you're announcing a 15-year-old game's new expansion, it's not going to particularly turn on a shareholder. Diablo 4, yeah, it's a long-awaited game, but the history of Diablo 3, one expansion, terrible launch, things like this do get taken into consideration. So again, nothing massively exciting for a shareholder to get excited about, or potential shareholder, of course, to get excited about. And then Overwatch 2, existing IP which is shown in recent times that it's, well, I say not losing money, but it's not generating the types of revenue that it did at all. People have really slowed down in terms of the purchase of loot boxes, etc. So all in all, there's nothing really at this year's BlizzCon for a potential shareholder or an existing shareholder to purchase more stocks to get that excited about. And I think this is why we have this lukewarm reception. It's nothing bad that's been said. You know, it's not like it was a bad BlizzCon. Yeah, stuff is coming out. That stuff's going to generate money. But nothing, in my eyes, was announced to turn one on, to make one say, yeah, this is where we should be investing our money right now. I think they're perfectly fine to sit back and say, okay, well, we'll see how things go, because there's probably going to be another year of not a lot, apart from the World of Warcraft expansion release next year. And I don't think that's a huge reason for the share price to budge particularly. So I think we're just going to see it simmer around this kind of stock price. You know, go up a little bit, go down a little bit, go up a little bit, go down a little bit. But I don't think there's going to be, unless there's some shock announcement by Blizzard at some other point next year, don't think there's going to be any reason for the share price to really budge too much. So from a gamer's perspective, if you're a fan of the franchises, there's certain contents to look forward to. But for a shareholder, no, they need a new IP. They need something big. I think they need Diablo Immortal to release, because I think that's going to make them a shit ton of money in the East. I think it's going to do huge amounts of money in China. But there again, the marketplace on those games right now in China is just slightly on the downturn. So maybe Blizzard are waiting for a more opportune moment to actually pull the trigger on it. There you go. Just some thoughts that I had about why, because people are asking me, what do you think about the share price not doing anything? So I thought I'd just put them together for you, and I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do get a thumbs up, and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming links. They're in the description box down below, and I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.